Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to get on the channel. Craig Spider Richards, and he's got his upcoming fight is against Willy Hutchinson on the Matchroom v Queensbury 5v5 card in Saudi Arabia. And yes, pleasure having you on, Craig.
Appreciate that. Pleasure being on.
Anytime, mate. Before we get into the fight with Willy, I want to take you back a little bit. Where did the desire come from you to become how did you get into the sport of boxing?
I think it was by accident. I've always just boxed just for fun. As years went on, I was trying to study, trying to find my way. And I was a year that I was doing nothing with myself, and I went back to boxing. And the momentum went from there, started winning stuff. And I realized, hold on, this is actually what I like doing. This is one thing I actually enjoy doing and I'm passionate about. And it rolled from there. And then 3 years amateur, and then bang, turned pro.
Um, do you remember roughly what your amateur record was and how many fights you had as an amateur?
I think I had about 22, one majority of them. I think I only lost a couple. In that, went elite from about 9, 10 fights in. Went open class like 9, 10 fights in. So yeah, I was learning on the job. But I was committed to the cause. I've done 2 years amateurs at my amateur club. Then I was down the pro gym my last year I was training like 9 till 3, 6 days a week, and then doing 4 of the evenings. I was going back to my amateur club and doing 7 till 10. So I was committed full time, just grafting, and obviously it paid off. And then got signed Peter Sims and Matchroom.
Yeah, exactly that. You made your pro debut against James Child and you won by TKO.
Yeah, I stopped him in 40 seconds of the first round, so it weren't a bad start to my pro career.
I mean, some debut that.
Yeah, exactly. And literally, I took it on 2 weeks. Someone dropped off a show, and Eddie said I can make my debut on his show, which was a couple of weeks, which I weren't sure about. But I thought, I rolled the dice because I wasn't actually signed to Matchroom at the time, and the opportunity come through to go and make your debut, to have Eddie to have a look at you. You can't turn it down. So I went out there and stopped him in 40 seconds, and that's how the ball started rolling with Matchroom.
Yeah, I mean, stopping someone in 40 seconds is definitely a statement.
Yeah, I made a good statement, and I just kept building off it, building momentum throughout my career, taking good opposition on. Stepped up after 4 fights against someone with a winning record, knocked him out within the first round.
That
That was
was
my first
Richard
Sky Sports.
Horton.
Yeah, Richard Horton. That was my first Sky Sports debut. That was televised. It was the first time I was actually on Sky Sports television. So it was important. He was actually the weight above me, and I think he'd boxed with a Southern Air in the British before as well. And I went out on my full fight and knocked him out in 1 round.
Jumping a few fights, you fought Alan Higgins, who was 12-0.
Yeah, yet again, first fight, massive underdog in the bookies. He was a big amateur pedigree, won a lot as an amateur, turned professional. He was 12-0. He just beat Chalarenda, who was well known on the circuit at the time. He beat him for the Southern Air, and I think I only completed 1 6-rounder before stepping up in my 6th or 7th fight to go and box Alan Higgins. I think it was headline or co-headline 1 or 2 on Sky Sports yet again to pick up my first title.
And what belt was that for?
That was for the Southern Area.
Oh, yes. Your first belt. How did that feel, winning the Southern Area? It's a very good title to win, especially, being the champion of your area.
Yeah, well, it felt good because felt like a unification for me at the time. Such a big step up, everyone there. It's like a Rocky moment lifting that belt at the end of the fight. It felt good. It meant a lot to me at the time, knowing that I was up against it for the title, and in the bookies I was such a big underdog. So it meant a lot of the time. People was writing me off and stuff. I was good to go and cause the upset. And people don't usually box guys 12-0, 6 knockouts for a Southern Area. That's more what they box people for a British. So I knew it was a big ask, but I still got the job done.
Yeah, was he a Matchroom fighter or?
No, I was the Matchroom fighter at the time. He was meant to be away. I think he boxed on a Warren show or small hall shows at the time. But I guess he was I think if he had won that contest, he probably would have come over to match him.
Yeah, but of course, well, you won that fight, so he didn't. So,
Yeah, so that was the end of his career. I retired him.
oh, really?
Yeah. Same as
Um,
James Charles, same as Richard Horton. I retired them both as well.
Crikey is one word of putting it. Um, and then you fought, well, not in order, but we're jumping a few fights. But Frank Bungloni, is that how you say it? You lost on
Frank
unanimous
Buglioni.
decision.
Frank Buglioni, yeah, that was my first step up. He was the weight above. It was a funny one, that one, because he was obviously the British champion. He was meant to fight Callum Johnson for the British and Commonwealth at the time. But Callum Johnson pulled out the week before the fight. He ended up in hospital. And Eddie said to me, I know it's not your weight, but would you mind jumping in next weekend to fill the show? So I was
What
like,
weight was that?
it was light heavyweight, but I used to be super middleweight. I won my Southern Area at super middleweight. So this was a couple of fights after that. And I was just like, what, the weight above? British title, 12 rounds. I've never done 12 rounds before. I was 10-0 at the time. I think he was 13 fights, 15 knockouts at the time. And I was like, oh, do you know what? Let's just go for it. I was in Ireland. I flew back the next day, trained 2 sessions for it, and jumped in for my first 12 rounder, which I came up short on points.
But yeah, I mean, 2 days training, did you say, for that fight? So
Yeah,
very short notice.
2 days training for my first 12 rounder. Yeah, and the weight above. I had 2 breakfasts to get on the scales and was still £2 light. I got in the ring light and then I weighed in.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's mad going into a 12-round fight, but knowing you, you'd fight anyone, and
Yeah.
that fight proved it. I mean, even though you came up short, I don't think many people expected. People were writing you off another sort of fight, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
was meant to get knocked out in that fight because he was a big puncher. He's the weight above, and I hadn't trained for the fight and never done 12 rounds, and he was fit for 12. So everyone was like, well, he's obviously going to get stopped in this fight. And I never got hurt, didn't get dropped, didn't get anything, just lost on points.
How many rounds do you believe you won of that fight, or do you just think it wasn't really your night?
I won a lot of the early rounds, I think. I think I buzzed him even in round 3. They did say to me afterwards, how come you didn't jump on him when you buzzed him? But that's because I knew I had 9 more to go and I didn't train for it. So I thought I don't want to go for it in round 3 and
Do
then
you
gas out.
regret not jumping on him now, looking back?
No, because you can always look back and say shoulda, woulda, could have. Of course, if I did jump on him, it would have been great. But was I ready for that level at that time? If I did win the belt to go in, what would happen after that? I wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying? I was rolling the dice a little bit. So everything for a reason. Because after that fight is when I decided to stay at light heavyweight and I moved up officially. Then obviously
So
3
did you
fights.
feel good at that weight?
Yeah, because I thought to myself, how can I do 12 rounds with no training camp with 2 days training when sometimes I was doing 6 rounders and feeling tired? So if I can do 12 rounds with no training camp, that must be my natural weight. So after that, I stayed up, 3 fights on the spin, knocked them all out within 3 rounds. And then obviously I got the title shot against Jake Borth with it.
Yeah,
And
talk
then I
about
knocked
that
him out.
Jake Paul fight.
He was another favourite, underdog again in the bookies. He was the GB boy, big puncher, southpaw. Um, So he was tipped for big things. He was like Eddie's good signing at the time when I turned pro. And he called me out at a show, said, oh, I just saw you get a good 2nd-round knockout. How about you get on for my title? So I said, all right, cool. Got him for his title. He kept talking a lot, then pulling out and kept rescheduling the fights. So I was quite frustrated by the time it came round. It was originally meant to be September, then October, then December, then we ended up fighting in February. I just took my anger out on him in the ring. I just dropped him every single round and stopped him in the 3rd.
So, yeah, another one where you just, yeah. I mean, did you expect him to be that tough? Like getting up from those 2 knockdowns to still continue in the fight?
I thought it'd be a bit tougher, to be fair, because I've seen him obliterate people. He had a lot of punch power and good
Because he was
combination punch
knocking
power.
everyone out.
Yeah, he was knocking everyone out, so I knew he was strong. So I did think it would be more of a war and be tougher, but I was prepared for that. So when he went down 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, and stopping him in the 3rd, it was a good night's work for me.
And sort of a statement as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a statement. I think that's when I arrived in the light heavyweight because everyone was always unsure, will he be strong enough and big enough at light heavyweight, considering coming up from super middleweight, and to then go and take on one of the big strong ones at light heavyweight and do that to him. I think I answered everyone's question.
And then a couple of fights later, you fought Shakan Pitters for the British, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
And
In
yeah,
the, yeah, he was again favourite in the bookies. I went and boxed him on his show in his area up in Birmingham.
it was Channel 5, wasn't it, that one?
Channel 5, yeah, he won the purse bids. So we went up to Channel 5 in his area, headlined the show up there. Yeah, and yet again, I dropped him in the fourth and then knocked him out by the ninth and won the British.
And it was a brutal knockout as well, one of your highlight real knockouts, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. It did sit well.
And yeah, that British feels like a world title because every British fighter's dream is to have that Lonsdale belt, which we can see is in the cabinet next to you.
Come on, you got to have the British title. You know, you got to conquer your country before you move on to the world honors. And I felt like it was a step, not a stepping stone, because it's a very prestige belt, but it was a step I necessarily need to take before I moved on to world honors.
Yeah, 100%. And then you fought Dimitri Bivol in that was in lockdown, I believe. I remember watching that. That was in May in lockdown. That
Yeah.
was that was on Sky. I think it was Joe. I can't remember who was headline. I think it was Chisora Parker. Can't remember.
Yeah, they both was on the card. But I think, yeah, did they? Yeah, they was headlining it. Yeah, Parker Chisora. Yeah,
But yeah, another great fight. And I thought it was quite close, in my opinion, that one.
yeah, it was. I lost by half a round. They said in one round on the scorecards. Um, it was nip and tuck. You know, last couple rounds, someone said to me I had to win at least two of the last three. So that's why I just went out and won all three of them. And they still scored it half a round short, but it was competitive. Half round short for the world title. Kind of kicked myself because I had a lot left to give in there. I wasn't gassed out. I didn't give everything. I didn't go through the gears as much, but my own fault. I learned from that mistakes, and I'll make sure when I go for a world title again, I don't make the same mistake.
And what was that like? I mean, boxing without a crowd.
It was different. I think that's why sometimes it was hard to go through the gears without hearing the crowd spurring you on. But it's all learning experience to push through for your boxing, really.
Was that for the WBA world title, that one, or?
Yeah, the WBA world title. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big step up, from winning the British to a world title sort of thing.
And he was one of the pound for pound fighters at the time where no one wanted to fight him either. So he was close to the danger man, and that's what I thought. Sounds like my street, and I went for it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And you made a great encounter of yourself as well in that fight.
I appreciate you, mate.
Um, I think it was one of the fights of the nights. Of course, there was great fights like Katie Taylor-Jonas, Chisora Parker, but I think your fight was up there as well that night. There was a few good fights that night.
I appreciate you. Yeah, yeah. A few people said it was a fight they really enjoyed watching.
Then you fought Matajay.
Yeah, Mateo.
Did
Yeah, he
you
was
win
solid.
that WB? What's that belt next to you? Because you've got two
Yeah, the
other ones.
WBA Continental. I won the WBA International off of Mateo because I think he was going to fight for a world eliminator the week before me. And then he decided to pull out to fight me because he thought, well, obviously, if I can win that world eliminator, then for the WBA International, then that'll push him off towards a world title anyway. So he came after that fight to fight me. And yeah, I knocked him out within 6 rounds.
Yeah, and how did it feel, picking up another belt?
Felt good. I like picking up belts. So that felt good.
Yes, because every belt is another collection to the cabinet.
Exactly. Come on. Had to fill up the cabinet.
And did you win the English as well before, or?
No, I boxed a Southern area, and then I was going to box the English champion, but I said to him I'll box him, but he can keep his belt if I beat him. But they still didn't fancy the fight, so I just moved on.
Ah, okay.
And I won the WBA Continental with Jake Bull, who was meant to fight for the Commonwealth, but he didn't want to do 12 rounds. That was meant to be on the line, but he said no, because we do for the Commonwealth, I have to fight 12 rounds instead of 10, which was silly because I knocked him out in 3 anyway.
Oh, so he does look a bit silly then. What was the? I thought the Andre Sterling fight was for a belt, no? Or
that was for a British eliminator. That was for a final eliminator for the British title. He called me out for that, and obviously I want to beat him for the final eliminator, which made me mandatory for the British.
Yes. Then you thought after Marat, you thought Joshua Buatsi headlining the O2 in
Yeah,
another great competitive fight, which could have gone either way, in my opinion. Very good
yeah.
fight.
Yeah, very good fight. As you said, could have went either way. A lot of them, Steve Bunce, a lot of the Channel 5 lot had me up around. Obviously the judges had him up one round. It was mixed opinions there, but it was a great fight. Josh was a good fighter. And yeah, we put on a show that night at the O2 Arena to headline. It was good.
Do you believe you won that fight, or?
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's hard to say. Obviously, I'm going to have a biased opinion on myself. So I kind of generally just listen to what I think the public say. Some said that they thought I'd done enough. Some didn't think I did enough. So it's here or there because you can't really cry over spilt milk. He got the decision. He's got to move on from it.
I mean, on the night, I thought maybe Josh were by two, but and then watching it back, I had a draw. And then sometimes it depends what the judges prefer. And on the night, he got the call, but maybe who knows? That's one to run back. But yeah.
I think so. I think one day we'll probably run it back. Probably for the world title. Will definitely be good. I think the first one was good, so I think people will be interested in the second one.
100%. Then you fought Boris Crichton earlier this year at the O2 Indigo, and you stopped him.
Yeah, Boris brings and possesses a lot of problems for a lot of fighters. I remember he fought, I think it was Lyndon Arthur
Linden.
on 2 days' notice, and he made a good account of himself, hurt him a few times in that fight. Boxed another British guy, went 10 rounds with him as well. So I knew it was tough. I knew he presented problems, and I had a 21-month layoff. So coming back to a tough competitor like him was perfect. So I was kind of like, look, let's not waste time. Let's see where I'm at. If I can't beat him, then I'm not ready or I'm not where I should be. And if I can, then I'm ready to push straight back into that world honors or into that mix at the top level. And yet again, yeah, as you saw, I think I stopped him in 7 rounds, I think it was.
I think yeah, it was round seven. Yeah, I remember watching it because I was trying to watch two things at once because the Queensbury show and the Matchroom show, so I was trying to watch both at the same time. It was quite annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, they're both on at the same time. I remember there's up the road from each other.
But yeah, and did you always know that like a big fight after that would like come about, like another big night?
Yeah, there was talks about it. So I thought if I am going to do a big night like 5 versus 5, I don't want to be coming off war. It would have been a 21-month layoff then. By the time that would have come around, it would have been like a 26-month layoff. So that wouldn't be ideal over 2 years out of the ring. So I did need to get back in, get some ring rust off and go again. And that's what I did.
Before we get into the Willy Hutchinson fight, I've got who do you think wins between Yard and Buatsi, as that's been rumoured that might happen?
Good fight. It's a very good fight. Stylistic is a good fight. I can't call it. I'm quite cool with both of them, so I'll stay out of that.
Have you sparred both of them?
Yeah, I used to train with Yard. We trained together for my last year of the amateurs. I used to be training down with him and Tunde for about a year. So we used to spar together about 4 times a week together. And obviously I've mixed up with Boatsi sparring and fought him. So yeah, it'll be an interesting fight.
Who do you train with currently? Shane McGuigan?
Now
Or
Michelle McGuigan, yeah.
yeah. How long have you been with Shane for?
I got with him 7 weeks before my last fight. So that's November, probably. No, probably like December, January, February, March, April. About 5 months.
And yeah, so were you happy with how your first fight under Shane went? And do you think you've
Yeah, it was only like 7 weeks before I joined. So we had a 6 week camp really. So there was only so much we could learn and do within that time. But I feel like we was heading the right direction from the off. And I feel like this next fight will show a lot more because then I've been with him for like 5 months.
Yeah, 100%. You've got a good fight, a good opponent in Willy Hutchinson. Is it for a title? Because I know he's got a belt as well.
Yeah, for his belt, he's WBC silver. So that would be great. I'll be making room on my shelf.
Of course, mate. So is that yeah, that for the WB silver, I think that's 10 rounds, isn't it? That for that belt.
12,
Oh,
12 rounds.
12.
Yeah,
Oh, cool. That's
yeah,
that's good. That's better. That's good.
yeah, a lot better.
And yeah, how does it feel, being fighting in like, I mean, you're going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's going to be sick. It'll be a good experience. I've never boxed in Saudi, so it'll be something new. I'm looking to embrace it. They say Saudi's like the new Vegas now, so it'll be good to experience this.
Are you excited to be boxing in Saudi?
100%, definitely very excited. I can't wait.
And do you feel honoured being on the 5v5 card?
Also, Eddie's got about a couple hundred fighters, and he could only select 5, and he could only select actually 2 out of his choice from weight categories. So my weight and me was picked by him. So definitely an honour. He's obviously he's led with his best foot forward, and he's picked a lot of his Americans, Herkovic, and then me. I'm the only UK fighter from the Matchroom side, which is another honour to be picked and going to represent. So yeah, it'll be good.
Do you think, as you're representing Team Matchroom, do you think Matchroom will win 5-0 or?
I think we'll do it 5-0.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you predicting, do you feel you'll all get a knockout, and more importantly, do you feel like you're still the show, you and Willy?
Yeah, I'm just focused at the moment. I ain't focused so much on overall the show and stealing the show. I've just been more head down and working on what I need to work on for my fight. And come fight week, I'll think about that more.
Do you believe Willy Hutchinson's the best light heavyweight in the Queensbury scene?
Well, that's probably why they picked him, because they feel like he is. So we'll see. We'll see how good he is.
Explain the point system.
So 1 point for a win, 2 points for a knockout, and 2 points if your captain wins.
Oh yeah, so I think Matchroom's captain's Wilder, and then Queensbury's Shiraz, I think.
Yeah, Hamza Shiraz. Yeah.
How was that whole that press conference when you walked in with all the masks and stuff?
Yeah, that was good. Something new again, having to reveal yourself. Obviously the first one, so over time things will be improved. I think it was really good. The layout could have been set better in terms of the way we lined up, because using a press conference, you would go back and forth with your opponent, but the names was getting called out different. So I might speak and then they called out like the super featherweight on the other side. So it weren't really much back and forth you could have. But over time,
There
I
will be
think
closer to the fight. Like fight week, should be a bit of back and forth.
yeah. So fight week we'll have the press conference. We've had face-offs and stuff like that. So that will get revealed at some point as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that will be coming out.
What do you make of Willy Hutchinson? Of course, he's got that one defeat to Lennox Clark, but that was in lockdown and since he's moved up in weight. So do you not take much out of his defeat?
I won't take much. I'll just prepare for the best version of him.
Did you watch his last fight where he stopped Martin? I think it was Martin Hoburn in the second round at your call.
I had a glimpse of it on YouTube.
What was your thoughts?
It was good, but who is that guy?
Do you believe he hasn't fought like you've been at world level before? He hasn't really. So do you feel like it'll be in for a bit of a shock come fight night?
This will be his hardest fight ever. This is the biggest step up he's had. So we'll see what he's made of.
So is it about, sort of showing levels in this fight?
Exactly that. Showing him who's what level and why I'm at the level I'm at, and why I beat the guys I beat and compete at the levels I've competed at.
And does it make you more excited that, winning, winners, it's sort of like a winners stay on in Saudi Arabia at the looks of things.
Yeah, so I want to be staying on.
Yes, 100%, mate. What does the WB silver mean to you, or is that just like another title that you want to add to that collection over there?
Another one I would like to add to collection, but I haven't picked up any WBC, so it'll be nice to pick one of them up, because one day I want to win their world title as well. So yeah.
So it gets you a decent ranked in the WBC then?
Yeah, exactly. It gets you high ranked in WBC. I think he's about 7 in WBC, so beating him, I'll probably move top 5 in WBC.
What do you make of Bivol like fighting Malik Zinad, I think now, is that Beterbiev fight's cancelled?
Yeah, Zanad come off a good win. And it was just circumstantial. Like the opportunity arose and he's took it. It's a good fight. I don't know much about him, I haven't watched him, but yeah, he's obviously there for a reason. They picked him for a reason.
Who do you think wins that fight and why?
I think Bivol would win him. I haven't watched a lot of him, but I know Bivol is one of the best in the division.
Who do you think would you like want to ever run it back with Dmitry Bivol or
Of course, definitely. I saw him the other week at dinner and I did say to him, you know, we're going to run it back soon.
yeah, I
Watching
mean
you
I
said,
don't understand why not. I mean if you keep picking these big wins up, I know full focus is on Willy and you're not looking past Willy because he's a good opponent. Do you believe
yeah.
you've stopped Willy Hutchinson or you don't want to give too much away, you know what I mean?
It's not done to give too much away. I'm quite professional, so I go out there execute the game plan. If the opportunity presents itself, I will take it.
Yeah. Do you feel like your styles sort of changed under Shane McGuigan and how's he sort of adapted your style?
Yeah, it's definitely has. Shane's got unique things he likes fighters to do, and I've just been listening, absorbing, and learning.
hmm Of course, Chris Smith has got a world title. I'm sure you'll be looking at his world title, you know, wanting one of them one day for yourself.
Of course, that's where you come in boxing. You want to be world champion.
And do you believe Billam's a bit of a silly question, but yes, I think you think that Billam Smith will be Reactor in the rematch.
Yeah, we're good fight. I know them both. I know Richard as well. I know obviously Chris. I trained with Chris. They both came on a lot since their first fight, and it's just stylistically a difference. So it's just going to be exciting to see how it gels this time.
Mm-hmm. When are you like flying over to Saudi?
I'll be gone next week.
And with yes, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, with fight week, do you sort of what do you do? Do you like relax? Do you look into the fight? You know, do you study your opponent on fight week and look at tapes of the opponent, or you know, it's sort of you've done camp, you don't really need to look into it on fight week, sort of thing, or
Yeah, the work should be done by then. So it's just about
keep your
mentally
mind off
preparing
it.
and getting the job done. Yeah.
I mean, how did training camp go? I can imagine you're probably on your last week of, you know, the last big push of camp,
Yeah, this week and last week, my last big pushes, and then it's all downhill from there.
just relaxing ahead of the fight.
Yeah.
Do you know like what time you'll be on with the whole, you know, 5v5 sort of
No,
cards,
I haven't
or
got the schedule yet.
you'll find that out when you're in Saudi?
Yeah.
Nice one, mate. Well, yeah, before I let you go, Craig, do you want to thank, you know, um actually, what's your Tyson Fury v Usyk prediction?
Hard one. Changes every day because depends on what Fury turns up. Fury losing the weight, I'm not sure if that's going to benefit him or not, or it will benefit Usyk. So you sway towards Usyk at the second.
By points?
Yeah.
hmm I agree. I'm saying Usyk as well on split, I would say.
Yeah, it'd be a good fight though.
Yeah, 100%. And yes, before I let you go, Craig, do you want to thank whether that's yeah, just anyone who's helping you in your career at the moment?
Yeah, I thank all my supporters, thank my sponsors. You know, there's a lot of sponsors behind who's helped me, especially sponsors like Elite Fleet Care. They've done wonders with me. Obviously, Everlast Sports Direct, Sean Printown, etc. These people stayed on board through my ups and downs and the meal team. So I got to thank all of them.
hmm And from me, Craig, thank you for your time and good luck on June the 1st. And yeah, all the best v Willy Hutchinson, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you for your time, mate. Bye. Good luck.
Thank you.